Hey everybody, so it is kind of late in the afternoon, about 2 o'clock on Tuesday, and it's episode 115, 115th week. I'm coming to you live for Time Out Tuesday, and like everybody, I am home with my family, practicing some social separation, or well, it's I forgot just the other word, just slipped my mind. I can't believe it did because it's the only thing we all hear every day. Um, and today I really wanted to talk about adaptation and finding solutions. You know, a couple of weeks ago, no one could have seen this kind of stuff, right? And we find ourselves now trying to figure out ways of doing things, to do a combination of things, right? Things that we need to do, things that we've got to get done, things that we want to do to try to find different ways of occupying our time, different ways of working remotely, different ways of delivering content and products to people. And, in some ways it's just vastly different. And in other ways, the phrase, the more things change, the more they stay the same comes to mind. And what I mean by that is, things are always changing when you're in business, when you're doing, any kind of project stuff, that things always change and you have to be able to adapt and move. If you can't adapt and move, you just get run over. And that's pretty much in anything you do. 2 weeks ago, if I had asked Nicole, who everyone knows, kind of runs the show at our place, to, set up a whole bunch of online classes, organize, distance learning and all these other things, she would not have had experience doing that. But as soon as this kind of started becoming obvious that was going to be how we had to move, Nicole became a Zoom monster. She figured out this whole system. She was able to instruct not only me, but our other instructors how to use Zoom. Melissa was able to get up and running on day one, doing our first online class. On day two, I was able to deliver my first three. We learned what worked. We learned what didn't work. We started tweaking it. Yesterday, for the first time, I was able to get some other instructors. I was able to highlight them during the middle of the class. One of our instructors, Sensei Jason, was able to jump online, very quickly do a warm-up with everybody. I was able to take the class back and continue on. And that's about adapting and finding solutions. And, to sit around and wait for something to happen that we really don't know when the tide is going to change here exactly, and when things are going to go back to what our previous normal was, and to reject the concept of this being the new normal, albeit temporarily, is going to just really set you back. And really what you should be doing is going out and finding your solutions. And sometimes people find themselves in a situation like this, either paralyzed with fear or analysis paralysis, right? Just overthinking how you're going to do something to the point where you just actually get nothing done, or they get stuck. They find a problem and they can't get past that problem, and they don't even try solving the problem anymore, and they just wind up behind the curve. And I implore everybody, get out in front of this thing as far as you can. Try to figure out ways of normalizing your life, normalizing your interactions with people. My brother-in-law just had a online cocktail party with some friends. We have a standing dinner engagement that we have with my cousins every year right around this time to celebrate a bunch of their birthdays. We're going to do a virtual dinner this year. It's not the same. Of course it's not the same. But is it better than just isolating ourselves and not seeing my cousins and having the same conversations that we could have, that we enjoy with each other? No, of course it's not. And, there's different ways of getting stuck. And, one of the things I learned yesterday, and, talk about things you know and things you don't know. What makes an essential business versus a non-essential business? I was talking to a good buddy of mine, Mitch, who runs a business called Computer Repair Force in Great Neck, and that's the place where I've brought all of my computers, my family, all my friends, everybody gets their stuff fixed through Mitch, because I trust him. I know that it's safe, and I know that it's going to be done, very efficiently. And I was speaking to him on the phone yesterday, and I just assumed he was shut down. I mean, who's going to go and get their screen fixed or their hard drive replaced now? That doesn't seem like the biggest thing in the world. And then he said, well, no, it's the opposite. first of all, he's considered an essential business because he's computer support. And, look right now what we're doing right now. I'm talking to you on a computer. Later on, I'm going to be teaching computer classes. And in order for people to be attending their classes and doing all these things that they need to do on computers, they need to have working computers. And in many cases, they need to have parts of their computer that they've never even used, like their cameras and their microphones, working efficiently. And sometimes people are turning on their computers and trying to do stuff, and all of a sudden finding out that their camera may not be up to speed, or their hard drive might be out of disk space, or all these other things. And it turns out that they need a place to go, and Mitch's business is one such place, and that's an adaptation. He didn't realize that was the kind of business that he was going to be doing right now, but that's the business that he's doing. I guess in a way that was sort of a shameless plug for my buddy Mitch's computer repair force business in Great Neck, but yeah, you know what? It is. It's a good. If you need that resource, that's a resource for you. We all have to share our resources, and that's one that can be helpful to you if you need be. But yesterday during the middle of all this, in my house, I found myself doing 3 classes. I was teaching 3 classes online. My sensei Terry was actually taking a distance learning class for her own. Continuing education credits. My sons one of them was taking classes that are being delivered online to finish up his senior year in college. And Sensei Spencer was doing something on the computer. He happens to technically be on spring break right now, so he doesn't have classes, but this time next week, we're probably all going to be doing, Sensei Terry's probably going to wind up doing distance learning therapy for speech language therapy. Both my boys will be taking classes. I'll be teaching classes. We're rolling out more and more stuff, getting more and more of our instructors engaged in doing different types of education. But this is about adapting. This is about, I guess for lack of a better term, embracing the reality rather than trying to suspend that reality. So I urge you that if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling closed in, if you're feeling that this is something that's too difficult for you to deal with, try to get past it. Adapt, find solutions, get engaged with people, take your online classes, take your distance learning, Zoom with your friends, do everything you can do to try to normalize this the best that you can so that it doesn't beat you. And I'm not just talking about the virus itself. I'm talking about the psychological impact of feeling like you're being closed in. Get out there, engage with people. I know for me, teaching the classes online every single day is not only a business necessity, it's incredibly cathartic to me to see the kids, to spend the day planning how am I going to deliver the classes in a creative way that's going to keep them engaged and get them smiling and get reaction and watch them learning and be able to critique and comment on their material that they're showing me online. This is very important to me. This is an important part of my life, and it's not one that I'm willing to surrender to. As a martial artist, we just don't surrender quickly. We fight the fight, and this is a really good example of doing that. So whether you actually are a martial artist or not, I implore you, fight the good fight right now. One of the things that we're doing to help people do that is that we completely opened up our curriculum to everybody in our members' families. If you're a member in our studio, I don't care whether you're a member of our kickboxing program or not. Come take kickboxing classes. I don't care if your siblings or your children's siblings don't currently take karate, or they're too young to take karate, or they're too young to take kickboxing. Get them in those classes. Let them try stuff out. Let them do something that's going to be a productive use of their time. Our classes are just, they're fun, and I'm watching grandparents helping their kids be our eyes and ears and our hands on the floor. I've seen the kids teaching their grandparents. I've seen parents taking classes alongside their kids, and I've seen kids in our kickboxing classes. And, kind of like that's what it's all about. It's about making the best of a situation rather than letting the situation own you. And so that's it for today, Time Out Tuesday. I'm going to start getting myself ready for classes tonight. I got 4 classes to teach. And my job right now is to make the classes bigger, better, and more awesome than they've ever been. every single day the class size actually is increasing. They're actually in some cases a little bit larger than our regular classes were, not surprisingly, and I expect that number to increase. We have room in our classes, I think, for 100 or more students at a time, so I'm not afraid of that. And I'm teaching the classes the same way I always did, which is using our traditions. We have structure in the classes. I expect respect among our students and their peers. We're going to keep things as close to being normal as we can, because I think it's important, and I think it's important for you guys to help out with that as well. So anyway, for Time Out Tuesday, Drenchy Mike, I'm signing off today. Today, I think I'll be holding classes again in the Alamo. I refer to my basement as the Alamo and the dojo as Tranquility Base. I'm going to go back and forth between the two places, even though we're staying, very much to ourselves. No one else is allowed in the dojo right now, so it's kind of a safe haven. I'm able to go there and do classes. So sometimes I'll do them there, sometimes I'll do them here. I think as the weather gets nice, I'll probably do a bunch of classes outside. In fact, maybe I'll even do one or two of the classes outside tonight. So anyway, peace to everybody. Stay safe. Stay with your families. Keep your distance from everybody else. You don't need to go out to the stores, right? Stay tight, okay? Peace.